Okay, you guys, here's where all the magic comes in, and this is what all that work is for. Now, I know up until this point, it has seemed like there's a lot of steps involved and whatnot, but honestly, once you get the hang of this and you start doing it block after block after block, you're going to get pretty good, and you'll be able to see that you can probably digitize a block within, 15 minutes maybe, if that. Even. So you'll get better at it. It just went really slow now because I was pointing out where the buttons were going to go, making arrows and look here and look there and touch this and touch that as I was talking through it. From now on, as we go through, we're going to go quite a bit quicker, and I will refer back to this video to explain, in detail if anybody needs that. So let me show you what I've got going on down here at the mat. I have my dime hoop mat here, and I really like this. It's a silicone mat. I absolutely love this thing. It keeps my hoop from moving around at all, and it has a heavy crosshair on it, so I can go ahead and put my hoop on, because I put my little measuring guides on there, and I can find center in my hoop through these big dark lines because I can see through them. I am using a no-show poly mesh, and this is the background fabric. I haven't treated it at all. It doesn't have any SF101 on the back because I'm not doing a heavy fill or satin stitch. We're just doing blanket stitches and straight stitches. It shouldn't have any puckering. So all I'm going to do is just fold it in half and fold it in half again. Now this is directional, so you need to pay attention to that. And I'm just going to put it in this quadrant of the mat and then unfold it. And that keeps it so that it is nice and straight. I love this. It's the 1963 calendar on here. That's the year I was born. I am going to use some Sulky's KK2000. This is just going to help the fabric to stay put. It doesn't have big overspray. It doesn't have a bad smell. I really like it, and it's just gonna give everything a nice sturdy place to stick to. It will not gum up your needle. It is my favorite adhesive spray, and it's temporary too. All right, I sent the design over wirelessly. It threw an error message on the computer, but it's here. It's right there. I'm going to touch it. It says it's too large and it's going to rotate it. I'm going to tell it okay. I've got my fabric the other directions. I'm going to tell it set, and I'm going to rotate it the other way, 90. There we go. It actually did it 180, but it knows better. Okay, so I'm going to hit edit end. I don't need to do any other editing to it at all. And now I'm going to go to my spools, and I need to tell it what spool to use. So because it thinks it's already applique, it's put up some stops. This column corresponds to the thread stops in the design, and these columns correspond to the 10 spools on the back of the machine. You have a preview window, so there are 16 thread stops, and it tells you what it's going to do. We have a hand that tells us not to stop. If we can put in a stop if we want. We have a do not stitch, and we have an okay. So the first stitch is the stem, and that is the deeper green. That is on spool number 1, so I'm going to leave that. And then this is the blanket stitch, and that needs to be spool number 1. I need it to stop before it stitches that so I can iron down my piece. And this machine stops and then stitches. So I'm going to put a hand so that it'll stop and then stitch. It doesn't stitch and then stop. So, and I'm going to go to the next one, and that is the base, and that is also spool number 1. And there's the blanket stitch. Before it does that, I need it to stop, and spool number 1. Okay, there is left leaf. I need that to be spool number 1. And there's blanket for left leaf, stop so I can iron it down, spool number 1. And we're going to go through this, spool number 1. There's the blanket for the blanket for leaf number 2, stop so I can iron it down. I don't need it to stop, but it won't let me undo it. That's going to be annoying, but okay. And then the smaller leaves are going to use spool number 2. And I need it to stop before the blanket, spool number 2. And here is spool number 2 on that leaf, stop, and it's already a 2. There is the petals, and that is going to be spool number 3. And before it gets there, I need it to stop, and spool number 3. And then the cone is the darker purple on there, and that is spool number 4. And I need it to stop so I can iron it down, and spool number 4. Okay, tell it okay, tell it embroidery, and we are ready to go. So this is what makes all this all worthwhile. I took the magnets off and ended up just floating it with pins just to make sure everything is out of the way. So I'm going to hit lock and go. And it's going to give me the placement line for the stem. Okay. I'm using a heating pad that I know I can't get caught up underneath and stitch into the back of my project. All right, I've got my little stem all cut just perfect, and you can see it fits just perfectly. This is my little Cricut mini press. I love this. Make sure that's right inside there so I don't have any gaps. The pieces fit absolutely exact because the embroidery design was created from the shape just like the plastic was. They're made from the exact same shape, so they are identical. So your pieces always fit when you use this method. all finished. Oh, wow. Oh my goodness, you guys, this came out just perfect. Look at it up close. Look how good it looks. Absolutely perfect. Makes it all worthwhile. If you haven't tried this method yet, I really want to encourage you to give it a shot. Just start my video, go baby step by baby step, and you'll get it. And it makes life so much better to be able to do this in an embroidery machine. All right, you guys, this has been a lot of fun. Now I've got to get the blue one done, and we will talk to you soon. You guys go sew something. Bye.